Hello friends, my name is Sam McLure, and today I'm announcing the formation of a new nonprofit designed to help victims of sex trafficking, victims like Melody Bannister and her children. Many of you are familiar with Melody Bannister's story. In the early 2019, her children began to come to her expressing to Melody that their father and their grandfather and other men were sexually abusing them, were sneaking them out of their house in the middle of the night and trafficking them to other men. Well, eventually, Melody became convinced that her children were telling the truth and she believed them. She took them to her local Child Protective Services. They did a 15-minute cursory interview and wrote the children off as having vivid imaginations. She went to local law enforcement and there was no significant investigation. So she did what any loving mother would do. She left to try to protect her children. She landed in Alabama, set up a permanent residence, enrolled her children in homeschool, and that's when I got connected with her. When I first heard the story of Melody and her children, I want to tell you the truth, it was pretty unbelievable. I didn't know how this kind of evil could exist in the world. And so I wanted to put some checks in place. I wanted to independently evaluate whether she was insane, whether her children were just making these things up. So we had several different mental health professionals evaluate Melody, and they all came back with the same opinion, put it in writing, put their name behind it, that she is of a sound mind, lucid, and credible, and completely stable. The next thing that we did is had the children evaluated for hours by a nationally recognized forensic psychiatrist. This forensic psychiatrist came to a rock-solid opinion that these children's memories are credible and they're based in reality, and really debunked any false claim that these children just have vivid imaginations. Now, another allegation that I think is worth debunking is that this is all a ploy for Melody to get an upper hand in a divorce proceeding. Folks, let me tell you, as an attorney, that there are much easier ways for a wife to squeeze money out of her husband in a divorce proceeding. Melody gave up everything. She gave up her comfort, her life in an upper middle class neighborhood with a $500,000 house. She gave all that up to protect her children. Eventually, the husband went to a Stafford County court and got a custody order which ordered Melody to return the children. She decided not to obey that court order, and the U.S. Marshals began to look for her. So she went underground and stayed underground for over 8 months until the U.S. Marshals picked her up in Indiana. After leaving Alabama, Melody stayed on the run for over 8 months. She lived from safe house to safe house with her children, trying desperately to protect her children from the people that her children credibly said abused them. The U.S. Marshals were hot on her tail for disobeying a Virginia court order. Eventually, the U.S. Marshals, accompanied by Stafford County Detective J.T. Wright, caught up with her in Hendricks County, Indiana. She was arrested, she was incarcerated, she stayed there for over 100 days with no due process, no court appearance, and no effective assistance of counsel. However, in in God's good plan, we can see that this was necessary for several key pieces of evidence to begin to come to light. The first piece of evidence that came to light was a corroborating victim. A victim came forward that said she also was abused by the children's father, their grandfather, and this group of men. She was willing to testify to that, to go under oath, to sign an affidavit. Now that's shocking, but probably more shocking is that she named additionally that the sheriff of Stafford County was also in this group, this pedophile ring, this sex trafficking ring. That was a big breakthrough, to have this corroborating testimony from this additional victim. Another key piece of evidence that came to light is the children's journals came to us. Journals in their own handwriting describing the abuse that happened to them. But it really helped to solidify the legitimacy of the case, the legitimacy of the children's claims. As we moved forward, a group called Hope for Justice, a nonprofit sex trafficking organization that tries to fight these injustices, began to work on the case from a private investigative standpoint. They put together a report along with a report from a computer analysis, a digital footprint analysis, that began to find some very interesting commonalities between these alleged perpetrators.